Hey Steelers Nation, it's Joe Rocky of the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. This is the morning of training camp of Friday Night Lights. I want to recap one of the great things that has been going on throughout this camp so far that is so essential to the Pittsburgh Steelers growing and becoming better this year. And that's the growth of Kenny Pickett in two main areas. One of which is the red zone, which we're going to break down a couple of reps from yesterday. It really showed the growth of there. And the other one is something that Kenny needs to utilize a little bit more, which is his legs. So let's start off with this great play that he does yesterday in the red zone. We start here with this great play in the red zone drill. Obviously, Kenny doesn't have a pass rush coming at him because they're not wearing pads, so it's a little bit unrealistic there. But what is realistic is that ball placement to George Pickens. Now, he's called out of bounds because he stepped out prior to the catch. But when we look at what he's actually doing, his feet are right there in the zone making the play. George Pickens is going to be an absolute stud this year. And the more him and Kenny can connect, all the better. Now, one of the other problems we had with the red zone is because you want to have variety to make the plays is, yes, we can throw it high to Pickens. We got that part. Can we get it into the tight windows? We see this yesterday in a pass that's thrown over to Gentry. You see Gentry does a great job of boxing out, but that's about as tight of a window as you can get in the NFL, and Kenny puts it right there. Absolutely everything that you want to see out of your quarterback. He is showing a proficiency with his decision-making and ball placement that is severe growth, which gets into what Tomlin was saying, has always said. The second lap around is expected to do much more, and normally they do. Kenny is showing from this point what we want to see more than anything. Obviously, it's training camp. Obviously, he's not getting hit for real yet. But with that being said, what he can show so far, he is doing it very, very well. Can't say as much about Trubisky, who's an interception machine. But on the other hand, some of the snags that were made in the practice yesterday, Joey Porter Jr. just absolutely laid out and made a fantastic catch. So with that being said, guys, the other thing I want to talk about with Kenny is this scrambling ability that he has. Because one of the things that we did last year that hurt Kenny back was we made him do too many checkdowns instead of letting him trust himself. The ideal way to work with a quarterback with some athleticism, I'm not saying that he's going to be Lamar, obviously, but he's got enough athleticism to make a play and get a first down in the way that Aaron Rodgers would when everyone's downfield and he can sneak out and steal pass. Mahomes is very good at the same way of doing this. And Kenny has this same ability to make it happen. What I would love to see is us to trust it more and have more balls downfield. One of the very common threads of this training camp, as far as from a positive direction, is that we are working the middle of the field much more. Last season, the Pittsburgh Steelers were the absolute worst in per play yards over the middle, the second worst in total passing plays or passing play yardage over the middle. And the only team that we were better than was the Bears, but we did it way more attempts than them. So when we look at this, utilizing the middle of the field is the Steelers identifying one of their weaknesses. Getting the ball into tight windows to tight ends, such as the Gentry here, shows that's how it's working. Muth down the seam, Robinson down the seam. And in a lot of ways, the Steelers are making themselves in a spot where big middle of the field becomes a really hard weapon of how do we defend. You know, we used to think of the type of Steelers when we bang it up the middle and bang it out with Bettis, which is still a phenomenal way to win. But it was always complemented with physicality on the outside. Hines is going to light you up. And I believe now that we're leaning into that in a way that we haven't done before. With the fact that Gentry, Washington, Connor, and Muth, 4 tight ends. Our tight end room has to be the deepest top to bottom in the NFL. All can deliver a hit, a block, and with the ball, deliver. And to show that, I'm going to show one of my favorite plays with Muth from last year. Just boom, hitting that hill and just going. I mean, we have the ability to attack the middle of the field. Last year, we were an outside the numbers only team, primarily because of Deontay Johnson runs to the sidelines constantly, and they only let George Pickens go down the sideline. His route tree is growing and developing. The center of the field is coming in more, and adding Robinson to this mix adds an instant amount of middle of the field, big slot action. So if you're doing this and pushing safeties further downfield, it really lessens the need to have that Warren be the speed back that people are pushing for every play. This team is better with Naji bringing his power element to it. And like any other power back, even though Naji's not a pure power back, he's more of a balanced one, but any power element that you give more time to build a head of steam to, the better they will be in the long run and in the short run. So the bottom line, pushing the center of the field back and pushing every pass play in general, but especially that center, pulls those safeties deeper. And the deeper the safeties get, the more room that there's going to be for Naji. This is going to be an absolutely great play, an absolutely great season. And the thing that allows all of it to happen is that if you're taking all of the checkdowns away and you're forcing the ball downfield, Kenny has to be able to move. Kenny, as a rookie, had an uncanny ability to do that. It was absolutely fantastic. And this Steelers season is priming up to be an offense that is going to take a step forward. And again, they don't need to be a top 5 offense. They just need to be middle of the road, control the ball 32 to 38 minutes a game, which is a very hard thing to do. But if you do it with efficiency, you will be able to have this defense be a top 3 defense and really have a great chance of winning this division. Tomorrow's episode is going to be strictly breaking down the division, as it's going to take a little bit to get the footage from Friday night's Lights Out. But tomorrow on Saturday, it's going to be how are the Steelers right now in the division? What does the training camps of the other 3 teams look like? And how are we going to stack up? Steelers, this is going to be a great season. Everything's going well. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.